we have been having in the last couple of days. In fact, from last week, discussions on the hike in electricity tariff has been the number one discussion before the removal of fuel subsidy for petrol. And so we will continue this discussion from another very important actor in the equation, which is the distribution company. The distribution company, the ones who are responsible for those bills you're getting and will be getting. They are the ones that will help us understand better what exactly is going on. And like I promised you during the Big Three, I'll make sure as much as possible that we stick to you, the audience, also, so that you have an opportunity to interact with them. With a big smile, I see Wola Joseph, who is the Chief Legal Officer for the Co-Distribution Company. Great to have you join us on Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Good evening, Aghogho. It's nice to be here.
Excellent. And this conversation is being streamed live on Facebook as well as YouTube. So if you've got questions, you can watch and see everything happening. Excellent. And our number again on WhatsApp, because I'm sure not all you get the opportunity to call in, is 0809 597 5805. Again, 0809 597 5805. All right, so let's cut the chase, like they say, Wola, and get to exactly what is going on with the recent changes in electricity tariff, which begins. I have a copy of a public notice by the Eco Distribution Company saying that, which of course is representative of all of the distribution companies that this is happening. So this is not just Eco Distribution Company that is affected. Saying blah, blah, blah. There are bands going from A, B, C, D to E, where the hours of supply are listed in one column, the new tariff class, and as well the tariff cost. So in essence, we're moving from what it used to be at 22 kobo rather per kilowatt to ranges I see up to 54 naira per kilowatt. So, what are the precise changes that have taken place with the new tariff, which comes into effect, we understand, from the 1st of this month?
Thank you very much, Aghogho, for having me again. Speaking to the tariffs, the new tariffs are what we call service reflective tariffs.
Right.
And service reflective tariffs generally imply that customers are differentiated into different bands or clusters, with each band guaranteed a certain level of service expectation. So just to give a broad overview of what we're currently running. And then to go to your question, which is what are the precise changes the tariff regime has brought? People are going to be getting value for their money now. It is the easiest way to put it. So for instance, you get the revised value rates that align with the tariffs. So for each cluster, you have a certain amount of hours that are guaranteed by the distribution company, and you pay based on that. We also currently have five tariff bands. So there's tariff band A, B, C, D, E, and each tariff band represents the quality of service, experience, and the measure of the minimum average hours of supply that the customer will be getting. It also provides for the amount of frequency interruptions, that's the amount of interruptions they'll be getting, and the duration of such interruptions. It also provides for service voltage levels and other parameters like customer complaints resolution, timelines for customer complaints resolution. So that's just it in a nutshell. I hope I didn't get too technical. But that's it.
Of course not. So we know the bands we see here move from 4 hours a day to over
Correct.
20 hours a day. And those on 20 hours a day, 54 naira per kilowatt. And those I see in band E, which is for 4 hours a day. But the list I see here is at 36 naira per kilowatt. So, help us understand, because a number of people have asked me, how did they arrive at this calculation? to know which areas, for example, have electricity running for 4 hours a day and those who are running for 20 hours a day? Voila, I think we're having low connectivity here.
You, yeah. Are you there?
Okay, we're here. Yes, we lost the connection at some point. So I was asking, how did they arrive at this? That's the regulatory commission arrive at this. Which areas will have 4 hours and which areas have 20 hours of electricity daily?
I sincerely apologize for that.
Right. Good. So
I
great,
don't
great.
know how.
It's the beauty of technology, off and on. But so in case you just joined the conversation on 9.3 Nigeria Info, Chief Legal Officer, Eco Distribution Company, Wola Joseph, is taking questions around the new tariff regime, which has come into place since the 1st of September. So I was asking, how did the Regulatory Electricity Commission come up with this plan for people to have 20 hours, some 4 hours? How did they arrive at the calculation for the areas that fall into these different bands?
Well, what they generally use was the minimum average of supply for each area. So if and like I mentioned earlier, the frequency of interruptions, the duration of the interruptions, the voltage levels over a period of a month. So for every service, in determining the bands, they said, okay, you must give 20 hours to this service band, and they mustn't experience more than 2 interruptions in a day. They mustn't have more than 4 hours of course, if you have 20 hours of power, it means your power shouldn't go for more than 4 hours in that day. And we must resolve their complaints within 4 hours in a day. So in terms of average response time and resolving complaints. So NERC just basically put all of that into brackets. So it's NERC's way of compelling the distribution companies to increase their service level if they want to charge more. That's just, I mean, if we want to be able to bill you the band A, for instance, we need to ensure that we increase the amount of reduce the frequency of your interruptions. We have to ensure we reduce the duration of the interruptions and respond to your complaint in a shorter possible time. So once we are able to achieve that, the customer gets a better, of course, is willing and able and happy to pay more, and then definitely the customer gets a higher tariff.
So what happens for example, because of the way neighborhoods are, you would have to have electricity street by street. So, for example, one street in one neighborhood, in terms of the socioeconomic indices, of that nature, is highly placed than the other street. How are they going to be able to distinguish between one street and the other street in terms of how the power will come through if they're all in the same band?
They can't all be in the same band if the power comes through, if they're of different. So, for instance, each the distribution network is like a spider web. That's right. The easiest way to look at it. And at every point, there are meters that measure the amount of power that goes to this area or that area. So even if your social economic status is a bit lower and you're getting 20 hours of power, I guess it's time for you to buy low energy consuming bulbs for you to be more energy efficient, which is one of the more developed countries. So you would have 1 or 2 areas that fall into that category, but generally in the way it has been mapped, you generally find that the same group of people live in the same areas, and we have feeders connected to those people. So for instance, if you look at the Ikois, they have their own feeder that's separate from, if you're looking at an area like Ajele. Ajele, for instance, has a different tariff, would definitely be on a different tariff from an Ikoi or a Victoria Island. You understand? And they have different feeders. But the interesting thing is that they all fall under the Island Business District. That's the interesting thing. So, but either way, they have separate feeders feeding them. And so we can just program each meter on the feeder separate differently.
A great point you make there. And another question a number of people have asked is which areas in Lagos are affected with this tariff change in tariff?
Well, Well, I'm sure we all know that we have two distribution companies in Lagos. So you have Eko and you have Ikeja.
Right.
So generally, all the entire Lagos is affected to a certain extent, and I would explain that. So
Good.
we have 5 tariff bands. Tariff band A, B, C
Mm.
had their tariffs reviewed, but tariff bands D and E maintain the same tariff.
Mm.
So which means that what they were paying before is what they continue to pay.
Mm.
However, that would be progressively reviewed from next year.
Mm. 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 So it's going to be
But
reviewed.
currently, they are on the same tariff as they were. Yes.
Okay, excellent. And if you were asked what for example were the market reasons for the tariff revision, what is the, should I say, the simple way, or the way people would say this was necessary for it to happen?
Yes, it was quite critical that the tariff revision was done. There were a couple of issues in the industry that needed to be taken care of. We didn't have a cost-reflective tariff for a very, very long time, and that was creating a huge burden on the balance sheet of NET and on the industry as a whole. There were issues bordering on forex and inflation mismatch. The forex used for the foreign exchange rate used for the tariffs were drastically low compared to what the actual forex rate is. And also there was an inflation mismatch. So the inflation figures used were also different. There was an energy cost mismatch as well, And then the losses that were also reflected were not correct losses. And I'm sure there was a lot of hullabaloo about the ATC and C losses when the discos took over initially in 2013.
Right.
And I know you've been following the power industry closely, so you must know about this. And there was in 2013 when they took over the assets, the ATC and C loss that was recorded were not what we actually met on ground. So we had to more or less recalibrate those. We got independent consultants, the KPMGs, the PwCs, come and revalidate our ATC and C losses. They also had unrealistic assumptions for energy, and then there was a tariff freeze in 2016. That of course, there's been a lot of inflation and a lot of things, and there was a freeze in 2016 that wasn't taken care of.
Right.
So it was way overdue, and I'm sure you probably have heard about the point in time when the discos were kicking against it, and that was because of the virus. The pandemic gave us some concern. We were of the opinion it was not a good time. We felt it was going to be hard on Nigerians. We've canvassed for it for years, but when we saw the way the country was going in terms of the pandemic, we were really concerned. But eventually we realized that it was something that needed to be done. We just needed to move. And that's why this has happened now.
Because
so those are really the market reasons.
I was going to ask a question before I come to the COVID-19 pandemic, but I just read here at the bottom of the public notice service reflective tariff, saying here, I quote, "We understand the inconvenience this may pose to our customers, especially during this COVID-19 period, but wish to reiterate this was done to improve the quality of service provided by Eco Electricity, and I guess for all of the other distribution companies will have something close to this." But how would you, because a number of people have talked about timing and said if they go, for example, and look at how things have played out during the COVID-19, people have lost their jobs, revenue has reduced by more than half. Those who have money are throwing their money into buying food and just basic sustenance for themselves. And say, was this time actually a time taken by the distribution company and NEC to look at it and say, we haven't really even begun the recovery from the impact of the COVID-19? Well, what would your response be?
I'm sorry, the connection got lost a little bit when you were speaking. If you could just
okay, so sorry about that.
Question,
so I was saying that people will look at, they put their cards on the table and say, we've lost our jobs, our revenues have reduced. Even the ones that have jobs, the salaries have been slashed, and the monies they have is just now for basic sustenance, to put food on the table for their families and just see how they can get along day by day. And they are now slammed with having to pay electricity. If they're paying 5,000 or 10,000 naira before, they're most likely looking at paying close to 20,000 for the 10,000 guys. And those who were paying 5,000, maybe 12,000, 13,000 naira. What are your thoughts? How is the timing justified here based on the COVID-19 impact?
So this tariff increase is something that we've been working on way before the pandemic came on.
Right.
And something that has plagued our industry for years. We've had the World Bank come in, we've had a lot of international experts come in and say that for as long as the tariffs remain what it is, the industry can move forward.
Right.
And you know that the power industry is actually the oil of any economy. If we don't get the power industry right, I doubt there's any other thing that can function effectively in the country. And so I think we had to do it. I would say we were conscious of the fact that it was a sensitive period.
Right.
We realized that it was a difficult period. I mean, I'm also a customer as well. We all are customers.
Right.
So we realized that it was a difficult period, but it was something that most definitely had to be done for us to be able to move forward. So Nigeria is a country that has, in terms of when you go to your friend's house, you see them, they turn on lights, they turn on heaters. Look, I'm here and all the lights are on. Those are things you don't see in more developed countries. So it's good for us to look at power in a different perspective now, which is let's try to look at energy conservation a bit more in our dealings and in our day-to-day activities. I think that's the only way forward. Put on the lights. People want to turn on the lights and see lights, so we'll give you that light. When you turn it on so you can see the light, they want to also be able to turn it off, right, and conserve it. So I think it's time for the environmentalists and distribution companies and other people in the value chain to start canvassing for energy conservation. It's just that it's good for you to know you have the power. I mean, you have the right if you want to use it, and then know that if you don't want to use it, you can always turn it off. You can always cut your coat. Your coat. My apologies, according to your cloth.
Right.
You can put it that way.
So I'll ask you two more questions. Go on a break, and then I can open the phone line so people can ask you the easier questions. I'm asking you all the more difficult questions I can imagine. Wola Joseph, Chief Legal Officer, Co-Distribution Company, on Hat Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Remember, you can send those messages on WhatsApp 0809-597-5805. Remember, we're streaming live also on Facebook as well as on YouTube. So if you can't listen, you can watch this entire interview live. So, very importantly, too, I hear something which I'm sure that people would also want your response to, which is with respect to how this played out. So, I've been following the narrative for some time, and I'm sure you know that the organized labor and the labor unions are having meetings now on what their response will be. More likely than not, they will demand for back to status quo. They could also demand for industrial action. But I'm not preempting anything, but I'm just thinking the way usually the labor guys think. So we had Senate say, look, the leadership and National House of Reps say this won't happen until the first of next year. At some point, they said that first quarter next year. Then there was something on the table, whether it was rumor. They read some dailies from Ghana where they said people in Ghana were enjoying free electricity and free water supply because of the COVID-19. The idea was mooted to the Nigerian audience also too. We swallowed it thinking it will happen. That was also tossed away. So from that point all the way till September 1, we've been in the dark according to many consumers, and bam, they're hit with this increase in tariff. And they're wondering what exactly happened. Was labor on the table and they agreed to this? If they're not on the table, why weren't they carried along, since they also represent a large interest of the people, which is the workers? So these things that happened, what happened along the way? When did we move from free electricity because of COVID-19 to an increase in tariff?
So the free electricity talk came to us as a shock because if there was going to be free power, the government would have had to pay the discos for the power that was used. Because they're gas suppliers, they're generation companies. These labor workers you're talking about are employees of distribution companies, they're employees of transmission companies, they're employees of generation companies. We pay them from these tariffs. So I think, first of all, the Ghanaian one, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't have enough details about that to say if it was true or not.
It's true. I still follow the story up till today. They keep extending it,
Well, it's. I wouldn't say that our power industries has gotten to the stage Ghana's one has gotten to, because I don't think Ghana's light goes off as often. So, and I think generally in Nigeria we have a very peculiar environment. We're very, very peculiar people, and we operate quite differently. That's the truth. So we really can't compare. It won't be fair to compare. We're more or less starting this power journey.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Right.
So we're still trying to get a lot of things right.
Right.
In terms of labor is fighting for the labor, and the labor is who are the labor? Who is the labor? The labor is basically the people that work in Eco people that work in Ikeja, people that work in Alist, people that are employees, and we're trying to give our employees a better, at least let them have a job, is the way I should put it, because we were also hit hard by COVID-19, but we tried as much as possible, all the discos, not to disengage any staff. I can't think of any disco that let go any of his staff during this COVID period, where a lot of organizations were letting staff go. So at the end of the day, whatever it is that we're doing is actually to ensure we can make the industry sustainable, is to get the industry to the next level. For years, we've had a shortfall that has progressively increased, for years, and it's grown bigger and bigger. It's like a debt that is owed to the distribution company. That they need to have a cutoff date. The earlier, the better. So we were not paying generation companies their full costs. We were not able to get our full revenue requirements. So it was we didn't even have enough capex. The tariff didn't even give us enough to get our capex going. So we couldn't even invest in the network. We could not invest in the network. So it's not, it was, like I said, it was something that needed to be done. It's a difficult time. These plans were already in the pipeline before coronavirus came. We ought to have actually started July 1st, if I recollect, but it was moved to September 1st to just give people some time to settle in and all of that. But it had to be done. It had to be done. And we honestly just appeal to the union to just align and try to understand where it is that we are going with this.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick break. I will come back. I asked that last question before I turn it over to the audience on Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info. In case you just joined, Wola Joseph, Chief Legal Officer, Eco Distribution Company, has been gracious enough to join the conversation live, and we'll take questions after this. But please keep listening.
Hard Facts. We'll be right back.
This is Hard Facts.
right, welcome back. How time flies when you're having a big discussion. We're halfway through the discussion. Wola Joseph, Chief Legal Officer, Eco Distribution Company, is back, and we are set to continue our conversation. This is live on Facebook, and YouTube is also streaming live on our different platforms, which means you can join the discussion. We're looking at the seventh reflective tariff, which was announced last week and takes effect from the 1st of February. 5 bands, which means it's no longer what you used to pay. And we're looking at many of the reasons why this has happened and trying to give some human face to a policy. Some say unpopular, but others say it's necessary to make the electricity distribution sector more friendly to investors. So, Wola, something you talked about, loss in revenue. Many have tied this to the fact they don't have prepaid meters. Most of the users of electricity, whether it's a co-distribution, don't have access to those meters. Being one of the major sticky points customers have had to face off with the distribution companies and the regulatory commission saying if we don't have those meters, how on earth can we get the money in there? Aggressive metering is what I've heard from the federal government through the distribution companies. 40... how many? 47,000 naira, 46,000 naira differs, I understand, according to installation. But the sticky point again is who pays for this? When do they pay for it to be installed? People have questions around this area. So we're saying that the distribution company has everyone metered before this begins to take off, or the guys who don't have meters will also still keep on being billed, estimated?
Well, people that don't have meters need to go and get meters, because since the past year and a half or so, you can actually go and apply for meters from something we call the meter asset providers. So we don't sell meters, we don't provide meters, but we have a website where you can go and apply for your meter, and within 10 days after payments, you get your meter installed. And that program is up and running across all the discos. For Eco Disco, you can always go to www.ekdp.com/page/order meter and fill in the application there. And within 10 days of payments, somebody will come and assess your house, and then you get a text message with the account details for payments and the amount. And then you can, so meter as definitely, the metering issue has been resolved by NERC a while back. And, we've done a lot of awareness about this. It's on our social media handles, it's in the papers, radio jingles, television, about applying for meters. So people can actually go and get their meters now.
So
they're actually looking for...
So are you surprised when the statistics comes out and says more than between 60 and 70% of the people in this country still don't have those meters?
Well, I'm not surprised. So, the meters are not free. I'm not sure. I mean, if I heard that statistics, I wouldn't say...
I saw a message once someone showed me, 47,000 naira for a meter to be installed. And
not a lot of people can afford that. That's the truth.
Yeah.
Although the maps currently provide payment plan options. It depends on your credit. It depends on a couple of things. When you approach them, they give you a payment plan so you can pay over a period of time. The regulations provide for that as well. And again, we've created awareness about this. So some people actually, you'll be shocked to find out that some people actually don't prefer the estimated bills. We've had customers that when you give them meters, they're shocked at what their bill comes up to, how much they spend. So they tell you the meter is running fast. There's nothing like a meter running fast. There's nothing like that, So,
okay.
But like I said, meters are available for everyone, and people can actually go and get their meters.
Okay. So I had a promise to the listeners. I said that this segment will be for them, and they can ask as many questions as possible. And Wola is also available to answer those questions. The ones she cannot answer, she would leave for God to handle, eh?
I'll try my best, I promise.
0700 993 993 993 is the number to call in. On WhatsApp, 0809 597 5805. Send the messages if you're not fortunate enough to get through on WhatsApp. So I can get to WhatsApp almost immediately before the people come for me on the phone lines. I see here... okay. they're still telling me hello. I guess it's the people who are watching who are thrilled just for watching. Okay, so this is Kingsley Unjoku from Teddy Town, and he says that good evening. We rarely get up to 10 hours of electricity in a day. We are paying as if we reside in Magodo Estate. Estimated bills keep hitting the roof. Yet the best discourse could do is to increase the cost for prepaid meters and the tariff. Profit is good, but profiteering isn't. Kingsley Njoku from Teddy Town. Satellite Town is close to Teddy, and Elo will speak with us now. Hello, Elo.
Hi, good evening, Aghogho.
Good evening. All right, so I give you just a minute, so because I see there's so many people trying to call in, so you can just go ahead and speak with Wola Joseph.
All right, good evening to your guest.
Good evening, Aghogho.
It's easy for her to sit there and make all these assertions, because I think their organization is very, very incompetent. Saying that she is not aware that the project in Ghana is actually true, that it happened, is surprising to me because everybody knows that there was free light during the corona crisis. Saying that, asking who are the labor, who are the workers and all that shows that, this is an insensitive statement for her to make. People are complaining of lack of power, lack of light, lack of adequate billing. And I want her to address all these issues, not to be making excuses for her organizations. Thank you.
Oh, okay, thank you very much, Elo. She'll
Thank
respond.
you, Thank you, Mr. Aghogho.
But sorry, Wola, do you want to get all of the comments first, and then afterwards we can...
Okay, that may be better. Let me get all the questions and then...
Okay, and once you can. Okay, so let's take in the next call. Call it. Let's have Ido. I see Ido is calling in.
Let me...
All right, Ido. Ido, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Please, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Lagos Island. Let me be very brief with my question.
Okay.
I know they segregate customers to 5 different categories, some in 20 hours, some 4 hours, and all that. So my question is this. If by this month I am categorized as a consumer that consumes 20 hours of electricity in a month, and I'm charged based on that, what happens next month if it decreases to 4 hours? Will I still be charged by 4 hours, or by 20 hours? Do you get my point? Because what is happening now is that those people that are even getting 8 hours of electricity, they are charging everybody 20 hours as if they are on 20 hours. If you buy 1,000 units of electricity, they give you 19 kilowatts of electricity. What happens when something decreases? Will I still be charged based on 20 hours of electricity? So let the woman there explain to us what's going to happen.
All right, Ido. Thank you for your question. Remy from Akoka. Hello, Remy, and good evening.
Aghogho, how are you doing?
I'm very well, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I was laughing when your guest said we shouldn't compare ourselves with Ghana, who is giving their citizens free light and free water. But it's easy for them to tell us we should compare ourselves to Ghana in terms of the tariff they are paying, the amount they are paying for fuel and all that. But when it comes to easing the burden from the citizens, it is always we shouldn't compare ourselves to them. And she's saying they had to wait till September for things to settle down before implementing the increase in tariff. Hope she's aware 21 million plus are out of jobs. Hope she understands people are losing their jobs on a daily basis. Hope she understands things are not the same way as they were 5-6 months ago. Because who are those they are going to charge for this increased tariff? I'm not sure they are probably realistic with the increase in tariff and all that. Thank you.
All right, Remy. Thank you very much. Patrick.
I didn't really hear what Remy said, though.
Okay, so Remy.
I'm sure.
So Remy was talking about the economic problems we're facing. You know, people are out of jobs, and he's wondering those who will be able to afford the increase in tariff because they don't have the income to pay for any increase right now. So those were his observations. Okay, I see Patrick calling in from Ikoyi. Hello, Patrick.
Hello. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Excellent.
So I would like to be brief. So my question is this. Last month, we were charged 60K for electricity. And I would like the lady to answer why my area here, we are charged like 60K, and places around them, say, Akute, for instance, are charged like 3-4K. So what's causing that difference?
So say you were charged 60,000. Are you on prepaid meter or the
It was an estimated billing.
estimated? Oh, okay. You don't have.
I can't really hear what he's saying, so you need to say
We
the
try
question
to
again
get the meter several times. The process is always so elaborate, and we are just tired of attempting to get it. So I mean, we just have to depend on the estimated billing, and it seems that one has also been too exorbitant for us.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right. So Patrick says, Wola, that they were charged 60,000 naira, and I asked him whether he has a prepaid meter. He said no, it was estimated billing that they got. So he wanted to know why he got charged 60,000 naira. So I'll just do one.
Where does he?
He stays in Ikoyi. So he was trying to compare between Akute and Ikoyi. So I'll take one more call so that you can respond to the ones you respond to. This is Buki. Buki, you're welcome to Hard Facts, and you're on to Wola. Good evening. Where are you calling from, Buki?
From Songotedo.
From Songotedo. All right, Buki, yes. Go ahead. You can speak with Wola.
Okay, thank you, Aghogho. I live at Songotedo. And where I live, we have prepaid meters. We've had it for years now, about 4-5 years. But recently, we observed that they are faulty. Because we'll buy credit, we want to load it into it, but it will not enter. So we've reported at Songotedo concerning that, and it's about 6 meters, and we have this same issue. One by one, the meters keep getting bad. So what do we do? Because they will come sometimes and cut our lights. So it's a big problem. We want to, and we are tenants in this house. It's not as if we cannot go to that website and want to purchase the meter. But it's not for us. It's a landlord's house. So that's a problem for us. We want to pay. In fact, I paid. Because for some of us, we can enter, it will pay, but we won't be able to load it into the meter. So, although the NEPA people around us know that it is a problem, the meter itself is the problem. We are not the problem. And there doesn't seem to be any solution in view. So what can be done in this situation, please? Thank you.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much, Buki. All right. So, Wola, the ball is in your court now. So,
you need to actually say. I'm not really hearing what they're saying. So
okay,
if you can
Buki stays in Songotedo, and apparently there's some problem with the prepaid meter because every time they try to load, and not just her, a number of residents in the neighborhood, when they try to load the card into the meter, it returns an error, and so they've not been able to use the meter, and sometimes the officials from the electricity company come in and they cut their electricity because of this problem. And she's written petitions, but up till now it still hasn't been resolved. That was what she said.
Okay, so I'll just take it from the first question. I think that's a better way to start. I think
right.
So the first caller actually just made some comments regarding how he would have rather I had addressed the issue as against, comparison to not wanting us to compare to Ghana.
Right.
And I think that didn't go down well with him. I apologize for that. But what I was trying to say in essence was the fact that anybody that doesn't know that in Nigeria, the way we do things is completely different is just in denial. We operate a very, very different climb from Ghana. So certain things, go a certain way, certain things don't work out a certain way, So, that's not to say that we're not taking responsibility. I can assure you that ECO and all the other distribution companies and even the generation companies feel very responsible for the power industry. And we're taking a lot of steps to change the way things are being done. It hasn't honestly been easy, but honestly speaking, we're putting any and everything to ensure that we get out of this. We get a lot of people out of this situation that we are currently in. So I'd just like to crave his indulgence and his patience for now. For Ido from Lagos Island, he asked a question that really related to the service level tariff issue, and he was asking about the fact that what would happen if he gets lesser hours. Now, the regulation provides that if for a period of 60 days, my apologies,
right.
If we don't give them that service level of, if you're on 20 hours, we don't give you the 20 hours, then we can't charge you that tariff. We're required to charge you less. So it's that's the reason why it's a band. As soon as we charge you more for 60 days, then we take you to the next band. So in essence, we can move the tariff around as long as we can definitely, give you that amount of power and service. So that's why it has that band. Remy asked about the economic problems currently and people being able to afford the tariff. It's the same thing I've said earlier, which is just, it's a very difficult time in the country. We all know. I mean, aside from this, there's been an increase in VAT. There's been an increase. The Forex has been unbelievable. So it's a difficult time for everyone. But like we said, it's just what has to be done. The tariff increase wasn't Disco's increasing tariff.
Right.
It was generation companies wanting their costs. It was transmission companies wanting their costs fully reflected, and distribution companies wanting their costs fully reflected. That tariff that we talk about is a combination of the costs across the value chain. So interestingly, we collect for the entire value chain, but we are collecting money for everybody. We're not the ones that take all the money. So it's an economic situation that has a rippling effect at the end of the day. So, and then, the last two people, that's Patrick and Buki, basically had complaints. And coincidentally, I also supervise the customer service department in the company. And so, I don't know how you want me to treat those complaints. I'd like to give them a number to call or an email address to email, and it would immediately get resolved, because there's nothing I say that can solve that complaint, to be honest with you. Right. I would encourage Patrick to apply for a meter. I'm happy to give Patrick the link. I don't know if you know Patrick. Do you know Patrick? Do you talk to them offline? I just wonder.
Hopefully they can't recognize me.
I was thinking you could actually just give Patrick.
Well, they're all listening, so we can. If you go ahead and give them the link, or everyone the link, then we can make use of it.
So if they wanted to, we have a call center is 24 hours, and the number is 070 80 655 555. That is the number. 070 806 55555. So that's 5 fives. And then our email address, if they want to email, is customercare@ekdp.com. All small letters. So to apply for the meter, the link is www. I hope I didn't speak too fast, because people tell me I speak fast sometimes. Did you get that down?
I think you probably have to say it again, because it was.
I will.
Yes, before we end the
conversation. Let me take the number. Yes. The number is 070 80 65 5555.
Good.
So 0708 06 and 55s.
Good. So that's
and the email address.
Email address, yes.
Customercare@ekdp.com. Customercare@ekdp.com. And for the meters, if they want to apply for their meters, they can go to www.ekdp.com/page/order meter.
Good.
So that's particularly for Patrick. He needs to put an end to his estimated bill. Exactly. He should just apply for a meter immediately.
Okay, so let me do some WhatsApp, because the WhatsApp people think sometimes that we're biased towards the phone call. So I take maybe 2 messages on WhatsApp. Abdullahi from Barua says, please, the lawyer, he says, Wolu, you didn't do justice to Remy's question. How do you know it will be changed from 60 hours to 4 hours. Hopefully, it moves from 4 hours to 60 hours. I can't imagine somebody moving from 60 hours back to 4 hours.
I don't think you have 60 hours in a day to even start.
Well, I guess he's just
So
he's probably
he's
saying,
trying to say 24 hours.
Yes, good, exactly.
So, I mean, like I had earlier on mentioned, I just hope this provides some more clarity. Let me try and explain it better.
Yeah.
So that the order actually says that if we don't give them 20 hours
Right.
in a consecutive period of 60 days,
Yes.
then we have to automatically drop them to the hours we've given them. So if it's 4 hours, the tariff for the 4 hours, people that get 4 hours is actually fixed.
Good.
So anybody getting 4 hours, anybody getting 8 hours, your tariff is fixed. We cannot, it's the same rate as what you were paying before. Nothing has changed.
Okay.
That's what NEC has done.
Okay.
So I guess it's their way of ensuring that people that get little or no service don't pay anything really.
Okay, this is the first tariff increase that's happened since 2015, I understand.
Correct.
Good. When will the next tariff increase happen?
July 2021.
July 2021.
Yes. So even this tariff still has a bit of shortfall in it. It's still not fully cost reflective. There's still a little bit that was, I think currently, Aghogho is currently at about 75%, I think, if I'm correct. And so there will be some adjustments.
Is it an
later
upward,
on?
Is it an upward adjustment next year or a downward adjustment?
You see, inflation doesn't go down. You know, if inflation went down, it would go down. So it's like you produce bread. I always like using this bread example. And for as long as the cost of flour goes up, the cost of your bread will go up. It doesn't. It's not. You know. They go hand in hand. So as long as there's inflation going up, there's dollar going up, as long as all those factors go up,
then
it will go up.
Reflective. Okay,
yeah,
so
it needs to.
All right, so Wola, you've been great spot so far. We'll take in 2 more questions from the callers, and then we call it a day. So let's go. Who do we have? Call it. Let's have someone speak with the Chief Legal Officer, Eco Distribution Company, and hopefully, please, let's expand the discussion and not repeat what the other callers have asked, so that we don't lose the opportunity to get some more enlightenment. Is this KG I see calling in? While they're typing your name out, I might as well just take it, and so you can tell us who you are. Hello and good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Great. What's your name, please, and where are you calling from?
My name is Matthew Iranisero.
Matthew Iranisero. No wonder the call handler had a problem spelling out your name.
Sorry.
All right, excellent. So,
I'm calling from Obaduri. I don't know if the lawyer can handle my case. I'm under Ikeja.
You're under Ikeja, but still go ahead. I guess you may have something to educate you.
We have a problem in my area. The transformer, the DT that is serving my area, is 2 days on, 1 day off. This is peculiar to this area. And we have written series of letters to Ikeja complaining about this. Up to this moment, they have not attended to us.
So it looks like we lost his connection there, but I guess we have enough information to work with. Let's take KG. KG is in transit. KG be our last caller here on
Hello?
Hello, KG. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. All right, so you can speak with Wola Joseph. Very quickly, in a minute.
Yes. Yeah, I've listened to our talk, and obviously all she has said is actually a reflection of the kind of government and leadership we had, that it's 100% of it that they didn't actually clear whatever I was saying. Let me quickly ask her this. Now, ever since on the 4th that this increase has taken place, my life has been terribly bad. As in, like, since on the 4th, all through Saturday, we had no light. All through yesterday, we had no light till night.
Where do you stay?
Oboh.
Oboh, okay.
And the same thing with the charge. I tell you what, Aghogho, since on the 4th till date, I bought 6,000 naira worth of cash.
Wow.
And what do I have? Yes, What I have in my house is just a freezer, you understand, and of course the lightning. I bought 6,000 naira, card. By my check, now they're charging me 58 naira per kilowatt from 23 point something naira. That's for crying out loud. For crying out loud. At least if you want to increase something, please, can you just explain to me what is the rationale of this increase exactly? If you want to increase something, at least you increase it, gradually, that people won't even feel it, that you're increasing it. I don't know if you get. I want to pay for light. I understand, I have generator, but I don't like on it because even though it get me crazy.
Right.
You understand? But at least I should get value for what I'm paying money for. I can show you my bills. I bought since on the first day. This month I just bought another 2,000. I'm making 6,000 naira in just this month alone. And yet, throughout Saturday, I had no light. Throughout Sunday, I had no light. They brought the light around, I think, 1 a.m. yesterday night, early this morning.
All right, KG. All right, excellent.
So she should explain to us what is the rationale. She should break it down so that we understand what is the increase. How did they go about this increase from 23, whatever, to 58 naira?
Okay.
That's Haba.
All right, KG. Haba. Well, I guess we're going to keep having this discussion on explaining how the calculation came up to this. But you try, and as we bring the discussion to a close.
Yeah. So first of all, I want to give them Ikeja's call center number. The last two callers were from Ikeja.
Right.
So I think I should give them their call center number so they can call Ikeja Disco's customer care number. It's also 24 hours. They are very efficient as well. Their number is 070 00 22 5543. 070 00 22 5543. So they can call Ikeja for, I know the last gentleman had a transformer issue and needed help with that. I'm sure if he calls, they can resolve it for him.
Right.
And there's this second person, I honestly didn't really get what the issue was, but it sounded like he was complaining about the number of hours he was given in power.
He said that beginning from the 1st of September, where this thing has happened, he's had reduction of electricity supply to his neighborhood. Sometimes he gets 2-3 hours an entire day, and he's got to have to purchase 6,000 naira worth of cards. So that's his own his own anger.
That's interesting because if he's actually getting 4 hours, he's probably the old tariff. So his tariff shouldn't increase, and if he's buying 6,000.
Exactly. If it's 58 naira and he's getting 4-5 hours, he's not in. He's definitely the band I see for that sort of increase. That's band A, based on where he is.
No, he shouldn't.
If he's getting paying 50 something naira per kilowatt, that should be the highest band, right? 58 naira, he says.
Well, yes, that's about the highest band. Now, Ikeja and Eko have different tariffs, I must tell you. We don't have. It's not the same. It's not exactly the same because. Yes, it's not exactly. I mean, there are a lot of factors. We have different population customer numbers, and all of that. So our expenses are completely different. So their tariff is different. And but again, this is the first month of the tariff increase. So if he's going to check the amount of hours he's going to get, it has to be cumulative at the end of this month. It's really difficult to tell from one day. He needs to. So, for instance, if they say 20 hours per day, 20 hours per day, 30 days, that's 600 hours in a month, if I'm correct.
Right.
As against 24 hours a day, if you're looking at 30 days, which is...
so the 600, that would be...
So,
so
cumulatively...
in a month, yes.
In 20 years. Yes. So what would happen at the end of the month, you look at the total, not really like today, because tomorrow he may have 24 hours.
Okay.
You understand? Tomorrow he may have 24 hours for another 2 or 3 days. I mean, I'm not saying that's the case here, but just so people have a good perspective of how it's going to be calculated.
Okay. All right, we'll leave it at that. Like I usually say, it's a rolling conversation. Thank you very much, Wola Joseph, Chief Legal Officer at Co-Distribution Company. And I hope we can do this often as much as possible so that we can get people on the same board, because the policy without the people's involvement many times will go all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Aghogho. It was nice being here. Great. And I wish you the very best. Be safe.
You too, be safe. All right, bye-bye. So that's it on Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Wola Joseph, Chief Legal Officer, Co-Distribution Company. Great to have it. This discussion will continue over and over this show, different news and current affairs program, because it's by no way gone. There's still many questions to be asked and many questions to be answered by all of them. Today it was with Disco. Tomorrow it will be with NEC. It could be with the lawmakers. And then Labour, of course, still have their own part to play. So don't blink, because there's still more to come. Up next is the news, and after the news, Rufai comes up with Conversations with Rufai. I'm Aghogho Oboh. Yalla, 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 yalla. Bye-bye.